Arina Bobrova, founder of Partner Element. Welcome, and thank you for joining me.
Hi, Simon. Thank you for inviting me.
So I've got a number of questions that I'd like to ask you today. So if you're happy to do so, let's dive straight in. There are a lot of procurement solutions on the market, and I want to ask you first and foremost, what problem does Partner Element solve, and for what kind of business do you think it will be most effective?
In fact, we solve two problems with procurement. First is the lack of early company-wide visibility into ongoing supply deals, and second, inefficiencies in employee self-service buying. Today, there are no tools that accompany employees through the optimal buying path from the very beginning, and this is what we are building. As for the ideal or target buyer, it's a company that balances high autonomy of its employees with active risk management and driving diversity and sustainability. And also the procurement team in the organization wants employees be self-sufficient as they buy.
And so what motivated you to found your company, and why now?
There were two parts to my motivation. On one side, during my time as a product manager in the procurement space at Workday, I got to know the procurement tech quite well. And as I was hearing firsthand, I had the chance to hear firsthand from procurement leaders about the challenges and aspirations and see the data coming from their procure-to-pay systems. So what struck me that there was a big gap between those aspirations and reality and data. More than half of purchase requests were coming to procurement too late. But the idea really came through when I experienced buying on company behalf and as an employee. So once I was buying a training for my team, and I expected very quick and smooth process because the budget was approved and the supplier was eager to partner, and yet it was the opposite of that. It took me weeks, and I felt alone throughout the process. Later, I found out that there were other teams doing the same training at the same time. So reflecting on it, I thought, why couldn't someone proactively reach out and assemble demand across the company and manage the deal because there were obvious benefits for the company. So if we generalize from this problem, from this experience, then the problem can be formulated as how can we quickly help employees who need something from supplier while considering other factors of spend management factors such as risk, existing contracts, and spend or category strategy. You also asked why now. So there are two opposing trends that we see. On one side, companies increasingly trust employees to make purchases, and vendors double down on targeting employees offering their products and services. You can very well see that through proliferation of product-led SaaS. On the other side, today companies are pressured to actively manage risks and show results in their ESG initiatives, as well as being cautious with spending. So those two trends, how do we reconcile? And finally, with today's powerful ML AI, we can reconcile those trends and solve the problem of giving employees speed, fast and safe purchases while addressing companies' concerns from again, spend strategy perspective. So, and this is what we do at Partner Element.
I want to change tack slightly now and talk a little bit about your personal journey, because I saw that you have an MBA from INSEAD, and I also saw that early on in your career you were a hands-on software developer. So of those two experiences, which one has proved more valuable in setting up Partner Element?
The answer is both. And I think as we progress from one stage to another, maybe shift will be from technical to MBA, but let me tell you why. So when I started Partner Element, because I had technical skills, I was able to put the very first prototype myself. And with it, I attracted early design partners. And with that early traction, was able to find relatively quickly the first technical team, who put together the initial product. So that was very helpful. Also, being a developer myself in the past, I can participate in technical discussions, deep technical discussions, the brainstorm, etc. But since MBA gives you foundation to run a company. And that's definitely helpful to first to run it and then to be in the shoes of customers and focus and be impact focused.
So I see that you had some experience in artificial intelligence when you were at Workday. There's certainly a lot of buzz about AI in procurement tech at this moment in time. So I really wanted to get your view on how you see AI advancing the effectiveness of procurement in day-to-day situations.
With recent advances in AI in general and LLMs in particular, we can address whole new domains of enterprise use cases, including the ones in procurement. And if you look closely at procurement processes today, they remain extremely manual across the board for employees, for suppliers, for compliance teams, etc. For example, it still takes 10-15 minutes for employees to submit intake forms. And on the supplier side, it can be hours. Procurement policies continue to exist instead of being replaced by elegant guiding systems. That's what we offer with Partner Element. And category managers spend days on market research and etc. So the list continues. And finally, with AI, we can solve all those problems. And that's why we are putting AI at the core of Partner Element. And finally, I would like also to add that I envision a world where an employee describes a business need and supply-related business need, and an AI bot, again, assembles demand across the company, suggests suppliers considering peer recommendations and category strategy, and weighing different factors such as risks. And then this or next, the AI bot actually goes downstream, automating all those mundane tasks and bringing more, unlocking so many more benefits. So the experience can be very smooth and quick, what I was mentioning from my story.
So I have to ask this because I know people watching will want me to. Should procurement professionals feel threatened by AI?
No, I would encourage procurement professionals to feel excited and empowered by it, because they can become much more efficient in what they do. And if you look at the core of procurement, it's about building relationships between business teams and suppliers. It's about making bets on the future and assessing business trade-offs. And this requires human judgment. And intuition is based on years of experience, is a big part of it. So this is not going away, the need for good human judgment. And also, instead of being threatened by AI, by leveraging it, you can focus, we all, I guess, can focus on more creative and human connected parts of the job that give more joy and fulfillment.
Absolutely. So really, AI should give people the opportunity to take on board more higher value tasks and take away some of the routine stuff that procurement professionals have to do at the moment. So let's switch topic a little bit, Arina. I want to get your views on funding for software as a service startups and scale-ups. PE funding's always been a big part of this. There's no doubt that the landscape has changed significantly for funding in the last 12 months or so. So I was really interested in your view about what you're expecting during 2024 and how accessible this kind of finance will be to businesses that are looking for funding for growth.
Yeah, the next year doesn't look particularly positive. Just the other day, I read the startup report by Carta, and every fifth investment was a down round, and overall funding continues to decline, and the time between rounds keeps lengthening, etc. So at the same time, early stage funding seems to be in a better shape than later stage funding, and I believe that industry downturn is the time to build, because there is easier access to talent and less noise overall and more attention potentially from clients. So that's why we look at this positive while being disciplined about how we run the business.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with what you're saying about access to talent. You know, in a down market, there are a lot more quality people available now than there were, say, in 2021, when everybody seems to be trying to hire. So you and I met at Digital Procurement World in Amsterdam several weeks ago now. And obviously the event is a showcase for procurement and supply chain tech vendors. In fact, I think there were over 100 there who were presenting or exhibiting or sponsoring in some way, shape or form. I think for a CPO walking into that exhibition hall, it could have been a slightly overwhelming experience. What would you say to that CPO?
Great memory first. DPW was such a fantastic event. And I would focus on three factors, I guess, to help CPO choose, because I can easily see how one can get lost in each option, 10 options in each subcategory. So the three suggestions are: first, to try to set aside some R&D capacity in terms of budget and manpower to explore completely new solutions. Second, to try to understand founders' vision as long-term roadmap, to understand the long-term view, because similar solutions can have very different long-term perspectives. And this will help the CPO potentially find answers what to replace longer term to make room for innovation in the procurement stack. And finally, to be able to run pilots on real data quickly. And that's the key, because the most innovative solutions today, they are data-driven. And yet pilots are continuing. It's something that it's hard to do quickly with real data, because there is no, I guess, very nimble legal vehicle and security process. They still take long. But the gains that you would get from seeing the product on your data is they are so much better than the ones from viewing a demo. So those three things.
Well, I hope there's a CPO or two watching this and they might take on board some of your advice. I want to get your view on go-to-market strategy. Typically, software businesses historically have used BDRs to cold call prospects with a view to setting up, software demonstrations. I wondered whether you still felt that was an effective way to win business, or whether you saw the market differently now.
I would say it's not the most effective way. I repeatedly hear from decision makers on both business sides and procurement, from procurement, and experience myself that we are bombarded with emails and we discard them as noise. So our strategy at Partner Element is to create overwhelming value for early adopters and growth with the word of mouth. And at later stages, we will invest into content marketing to help the audience understand benefits of this different way of employee buying that we're building with Partner Element.
Absolutely. I don't think I've ever bought anything off a cold call in the 20 years I've been running business. So it's interesting to hear that you're adopting a different strategy. I want to ask you about next year. I know Partner Element is still pre-revenue. So what would the next 12 months look like for you if they were to be successful?
So our approach to employee buying, based on early visibility and well-timed recommendations to employees as they engage with suppliers, is new. And with it, we are making a bet that it reaps enormous benefits. It has enormous benefits for the company. So in the next 12 months, we would like to find forward-looking teams who will deploy Partner Element, give us feedback, and help us quantify the gains. And with this information, we can accelerate industry transformation that we envision.
I hope you're very successful with that. It's been great to get your views on everything to do with procurement technology, and thank you so much for sharing them. So very best of luck with Partner Element for 2024, and thank you so much for joining me.
Simon, again, thank you very much for inviting me, and it was a very interesting conversation, and wishing you the best in 2024 too.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.